All right, everybody, welcome back to another video here on Financial Friends. Today, I am going to be discussing, as a part of the dividend journey, why I invest in dividend stocks at 20 years old. In general, dividend stocks are known as a more stable income type of investment that you can make when you are a little bit older. Collect that income, be able to retire, have flexibility. Why am I doing this at such a young age? Well, I have 3 core reasons. I'm going to dive into that video right now. But before we get started, please go ahead and hit that like button. Your support means the absolute world. Hit subscribe if you are not subscribed already. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and we're currently at 900. So please go ahead and hit subscribe. 100 more friends to add to this friend group. And also comment at any point during this video your thoughts. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Number 1, I'm going to move myself to the empty space here every time. Number 1, the circle of competence. So what does this mean? It means you only invest in what you can understand. And so for me, that's companies that I tend to use, companies that have free cash flow or profits, companies that pay dividends and return their profits back to shareholders. They don't use some absolute crazy metrics or some out of this world growth strategy, and there tends to be less worry and more stability in the businesses that I understand. So the circle of competence means anything inside of that circle that makes sense, that aligns with these points, I invest in. Anything that does not fall within that circle, I tend to not invest in. Now, these simple examples here, Target and Starbucks, aka they're inside of each other. I use them. I go to Starbucks, I get a drink, I walk around Target. I can feel the business, okay? And also being a numbers person, being able to dive into the analytics, the statistics of these businesses, the free cash flow statements, the balance sheets, all this other stuff. Knowing the business and how it functions in the real world aids my ability to understand those things. Waste management, the garbage always gets picked up. SCHD, it's an ETF diversified, and I just need to understand the goal of the ETF and trust that the businesses inside of it are in cohesion, I should say, with that goal. As long as I can do that, I'm set. Now, AMD is outside of this circle of competence because they're trying to grow. It's a semiconductor chip style business that, I'll be honest, I just don't understand the industry. You can also see these 4 logos here. These are utilities, like utility companies. This is something that normally is a dividend payer. I just don't understand utility companies. And maybe I could do a little bit of research, grow my understanding, and then absorb them into my circle of competence. But for now, they lie outside of that. And so I do not have any direct investment in these types of companies. Meta is a company I personally disagree with in a lot of different ways. I'm not a fan of their growth strategy. I'm not a fan of their current businesses and the way they're managing them. And so for that reason, it is outside of my circle of competence. And Palantir was a stock I used to invest in. This is a company that I thought I understood. I thought I knew what they did, and earnings would come out. They would talk about things, and I was completely lost. Sold off my investment, took a loss on it, and instead invested it into businesses that I understood. Now, these are not the only 4 businesses I understand, nor the only 4 things I don't understand, but merely some really good examples of things that I do or don't understand. All right, moving forward to number 2. This is maybe the more juicy stuff here, the dividend snowball. The concept of compounding, compound interest, growing your dividends over time is really what excites me about all of this. And selecting dividend companies that I can understand and I group them into this is really the reason I like dividend investing as a whole. You could see here just an example of the snowball. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as you continue to add to your positions, as those positions continue to grow, and as you reinvest back into those positions. So 1K turns to 5K, turns to 10, 25, and 100,000 before you even can realize, as long as you stay consistent. This is a prime example right here of actually real numbers within my personal Roth IRA. You can see 2 dividends paid out on the very last day of 2021, December 31st, for SFY and SFYX. I managed to continue to invest over and over and over and over again and grow these positions over 3 months to where the SFY dividend was up from $19, or essentially call it $20, to $33, and SFYX up from $2.16 to $3.81. That is so exciting. And it's 2 to a 3 and 19 to a 33. But what happens after 33 turns to 45, turns to 70, turns to 100, turns to 150, turns to 300, and this snowball begins to form. And that is so exciting to me, and it's just something that you don't get to see with normal growth companies. All right, the last one here. This is one of the biggest ones. Flexibility or retiring early. You get to really kind of pick either or. So FIRE is financial independence, retire early, and income replacement is pretty self-explanatory. It is replacing your income with dividends. It's what I have demonstrated down here with all the numbers. I'm going to get into it in a second. But you can cover your core expenses and then live stress-free. So let's dive into the numbers. Now, these are all hypothetical, none of them are real. But let's imagine you had a mortgage. It was $1,000, a water bill was 300 bills, electric 200, internet 100, and then maybe you had a couple other different expenses, but for the purposes of this example, it adds up to $1,600. But you have dividends, and Coke pays you $200 that month. Pepsi pays you $150, SCHD pays you $1,000, Realty Income pays you $750, and you now have $2,100 in dividends. Now, given your income, you could pay these expenses, but you could also let your dividends cover these expenses. And even if you weren't working, you would still be able to keep $500 for this month to do whatever you wanted with. Or because you're working, you're also creating $1,000 from your job, $200 from a side hustle, and maybe your partner brings in $1,000 as well. So your joint income is $2,200, and you now net out total, after all expenses covered from dividends, $2,700. But the amazing part of this example is you don't have to work. Now, of course, this is way down the road, and I'm only 20 years old, but that's the point. A lot of times you might invest in growth your whole life, and you might become a lot better off with a lot bigger of a portfolio over time, but I might be getting paid a lot more in dividends because of my position, because of reinvesting in those positions. And again, maybe riding out growth your whole life and swapping to all dividends is a really good play. But for me, at this current point in time, a lot of those companies do not lie within my circle of competence. They don't create and excite me with this dividend snowball. And for that reason, I've decided to not invest in those companies. So if you enjoyed this video, if you can relate to this video, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I do appreciate you watching this. I know it was a relatively quick video, but comment down below. Why do you invest in dividend stocks, no matter what age you are? Drop some reasons down below in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button if you are not already. Plenty more content coming out like this in the future. And I will see you all in the next one. Take care.